One-on-One. I'm your host, Lee Adamson. Today is Upper St. Clair Day. In what way? Well, it's the Upper St. Clair School, the Upper St. Clair Athletic Department, the Upper St. Clair basketball team, and we have the boys varsity basketball back-to-back WPIAL champions and their coach. And we're going to start off with him, Mr. Danny Holzer. Danny, it's great to have you back.
Well, thanks for having me, Lee. It's great to be back.
Oh my gosh. So how many wins do you have now?
522, I believe.
And how many WPIAL championships?
5.
Over 500 wins, Danny. Jeez. I mean, what do you think the secret to that is?
Well, it's simple. Good players. I mean, really good players in this community. It's that simple. That's why I've been so successful, and the people in this community, the support the school district has given us since we've been here, and the parents allowing us to coach their kids, all of that, the dedication of the players. We kind of have a really good system that we do, but it all starts with the players, and I give all the credit to them.
So, this particular team that you had, I mean, there was high expectations because you had won it the year before and you had most everybody back. And, did you feel pressure from that?
Yeah, as far as high school athletics goes, in my 30 years, I could honestly tell you personally, it was the most pressure I felt because I didn't want to let anybody down personally as being the head coach because I knew this team was special. They were special, and we wanted to win it. We needed to win it, and we did. And again, it was credit to the kids. I mean, being ranked number one in any sport at any level at the beginning of the year, it's difficult to do, and we never blinked. And so, and in the playoffs, we did it in pretty easy fashion, which was really special. But and again, it goes back to the kids and our coaching staff.
But I mean, the playoffs is the high wire act where you have a dud of a game and you're gone.
Right.
And
that's
so
right.
That's a big pressure. I mean, speaking of that, when you get to the playoffs, do you talk to your players differently about now, like this is do or die kind of stuff? Do you?
Yeah, I mean, I think these guys will tell you. I talk to them about it. I go, hey, we're now one and done. One bad outing, and it suddenly ends. It's over before you can blink.
Yeah.
So I do believe that as a coach, I've always believed that not every game. It's just not. Playoffs are just not another game. They're just not. And I know a lot of people try to use that as their way of looking at it, but I've never done that because, it's different. You win, you go on. You lose, you're out. So, yeah, it is different. You got to step up, see what you're all about.
Yeah, sure. So, this particular team, you've won 5 WPIAL championships. How does this team differ from your other 4?
I think the biggest thing is with the senior class, these guys that are here, that we did it back to back. I think that's what separates them from anything else. We've had
the first back to back.
Yeah, this is the first back to back. Okay. So I think they have to be the most decorated class basketball wise that we've had because of that. Because nobody else has done that. And we've had some really good teams, won multiple championships, but back to back with these guys, that's a cut above.
Yeah. So what would you say? I mean, obviously the championships are a high, but what other highs did you have with this team this year? Besides the championship?
Just being with them every day at practice. It was always so much fun. They worked hard. We had 10 seniors, and in practice they compete against one another.
10 seniors?
Yep.
That's almost unheard of, Danny.
Yep. And there was. We didn't have any issues with any of them as the year went on, as far as like playing time and not that type of thing. It's hard to be a senior and maybe not play as much, but this group was tight knit. They're all good friends, and they battled in practice and made our top guys better. So it was an absolute joy just to be around them on a day to day, and with my coaches this year. My coaches have been were awesome. Joe Sell played for me. Gavin Williams has been with me since I got here in '95, and Brandon McClester has been around for 6 or 7 years now and has really fit in, got a niche. So the day-to-day part of it was just so special.
So you have talent here. You have talent.
Oh yeah.
And so, how hard is it to parse that playing time, Danny? How hard is that for you?
Oh, it's not easy because they all deserve to play, but that's not the way life is. And as head coach, you take on the responsibility of doing what's best for the team, and so the best players play. And we had a lot of guys that were good players that had roles that didn't play as much, but that's life. That's growing up. That's part of athletics. I mean, there was 12, 15 kids on our team, and everybody had a role. And if you didn't accept that role, then then a lot of times you see people leave the team. But with us, it didn't happen because they believe in what we're doing, our culture, and it started with. I mean, these 4 guys were our captains, so it started with them, and they were the leaders of this team, and made it what it was.
But when you have a couple kids that are kind of close in their productivity, but you had to make a decision who's getting more playing time. Is that a unilateral decision on your part, or do you consult with anybody?
Oh, I consult with my coaches. We talk daily, especially during the season, about so many things, and try to I listen to what those guys say. Sometimes we disagree on things, but at the end of the day, I'll make the decision, and then we go forward. And I'm very fortunate to have a loyal staff. And once I make the decision, we move on and go with it. Yeah,
that's great that you have that support. You've been coaching for 30 years at Upper St. Clair. My goodness, and are you the most tenured in the WPIL?
I am. Yeah, it's the same school. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so, what would people be surprised? What might people be surprised to know about you doing what you do? Like, they just don't. You're in it. You're in that grind. You're in and you're out. What might they not know what it's like that you do?
I think about it daily. I mean, it's my passion, and I don't have any other hobbies. I really don't. I don't golf. I don't fish. I don't hunt. I don't think I've ever. In fact, I know some of my colleagues up in school laugh when I tell them I never had a fishing rod in my hand. I never. And in golf, I could play like 2 golf outings in a year, just at scrambles with my friends that I go with. But it's just something I just love to do. I mean, I've been like that since I've been probably 5 years old, and hopefully I could do it for 20 or 25 more years because I still really enjoy it. But again, I enjoy it because of these guys. Like this place has made me love my passion more than I could have ever imagined. Like when our season ended, we lost in the state semifinals. We're getting on the bus, and then internally I'm thinking, all right, what do we got to do next year to keep this thing going? I mean, you never stop thinking about it. But I think any coach would tell you that. If you're in it because you love it and it's a passion.
So this is your passion. You think about it all the time.
Yeah.
So some people might not know that.
Yeah.
And that you don't have many hobbies, and this is your thing.
Yeah.
This is your lane.
Yeah.
And with that being the case, I always say that in any relationship or group, a culture is created. And so obviously, you being here for 30 years and you being the leader, you're leading the culture. So give us a little bit of insight into what it looks like with the culture of your team. What is the culture like that you want to establish and have established?
Well, again, it starts with the players. I think we get to know them when they're very young. Like, we have a camp in the summertime, and I think all these 4 guys sitting here came to our camp multiple years, so we get to know them from that level and try to do the best job we can of getting to know these kids and them getting to know us as the years progress before they get to high school. When they come to 9th grade, they all know what to expect from what the team does. They know who I am and our coaching staff is, and so it's a progression from the time they're youth to when they get to high school. And then again, we've been very fortunate over the years that every group kind of keeps establishing like the things that we think are most important. How to be a good teammate, how to be part of this team, what's expected. As you get older, you have more of a leadership role naturally, and it just keeps going from year to year to year to year. And I think that's That's probably the biggest thing that has kept us going. And again, two of my coaches in particular, because they've been with me for so long, Joe and Gavin, are a huge help in that. Because Joe played for me and Gavin's been here since I got here. That consistency has helped a lot too.
But what do you think the players would say about how demanding you are?
I don't know. Maybe you want to ask them that. I think
I will ask them that.
I think we are demanding. We expect their best effort all the time, but at the same time, you have to. One thing about being a head coach, you have to be yourself. And I'm the type of person that I like to enjoy it, have fun, work hard, have a good work ethic, believe in discipline. But at the same time, there's got to you got to have a part of it where you're enjoying it. If you're not enjoying it, and it's a grind, and that's I don't believe in that personally. So I think these guys would tell you that we have a lot of fun, but at the same time, we get after it as well. So it's a good mix, I believe.
You know, I've been doing this almost 30 years, and I've been interviewing you for that long because you've won championships for that long. And you know, one of the things that you said to me, and that I asked you one day, that I played high school basketball at Penn Hills High School when we were the second largest school district in the state of Pennsylvania in the 70s. And we were always in the playoffs and always competitive, playing at high levels down at the old Civic Arena. So I come from high level basketball. Mm-hmm. And so when I watch a high school basketball game, I'm like, I know what I'm looking at because I was there and I played it. And so when I would see you play Mount Lebanon, I come to a lot of your Mount Lebanon St. Clair games. I just think they're terrific games and a great rivalry. But one of the things that I've always felt about your teams is how hard they play for you. And I asked you one time, and I don't know if you remember this, like, how do you get them to play so hard? And do you remember what you told me?
I do not.
Okay. Well, this was literally close to 30 years, maybe 25 years ago, I asked you this question. I mean, my memory's not that great, but it is for this, because basketball is a passion of mine too. I love it. And so I said, Danny, how do you get these kids to play so hard? They play hard. I mean, this was back when you were playing in that old Mount Lebanon gym, and it was like dark, and you guys are winning. You know, it's 42-41 and 38-36.
Yep.
And I mean, these were battles.
I remember those. Yeah.
You remember those,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So how do you get them to play so hard? And you looked at me and you said, "Oh, it's real simple, Lee. They just sit down next to me if they don't. If they don't, they just sit down next to me." And I mean, it was simple, but I think powerful.
Yeah.
Because Danny, I don't think that a kid, a high school kid, wakes up in the morning and comes to practice and just wants to play blood and guts defense. Mm-hmm. But you know that wins championships.
That's right.
And you know that helps you be successful. Mm-hmm. And your kids play really hard. Yep. And why do you think they play so hard for you?
I think there's definitely a mutual respect between both of us. They know how I feel about them on and off the court. I'm there for them if they ever need anything, and I think they feel the same way about me as well. And again, that's over the years of getting to know them and building a relationship and trust and that type of thing. And I think they love to compete. We have competitive kids at Upper St. Clair, and that it's intrinsically it's in them. It comes from their home. But the relationship that we have with them, I think, is a big part of it.
You could probably thank some of their parents, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, right. And so, but here's the other thing that I find fascinating as a high school basketball coach, and I love high school basketball. Why? Because you can go to a game and you're right on top of it. And I mean, you can hear them talk, you can see it, they're right there. You're not sitting way up in the rafters, you're right there. And that's why I think I love high school basketball more than I love it all, but that's my favorite. But when you've got kids playing for you, I feel like one of the hardest things as a coach, and I want you to describe how you balance this, is you need accountability in terms of like their effort and what they do, but yet you want them to play with confidence. And sometimes if you're really busting on them, they could lose some confidence.
Yeah.
And so do you think about that, and how do you manage that?
Yep. Oh yeah, you got to think about that a lot. I let them play through their mistakes. You know, everybody's going to make mistakes. As long as we're always playing hard with a team effort, you just go to the next play. And our kids know that. I don't want them looking over their shoulder saying, "Oh, if I make one mistake, I'm coming out." That type of thing. You can't be that way. I mean, there's times where somebody might not play as much and get in and make a mistake, come out, and they may think that's what it was, but it's not. But every team's different. Every kid, you got to coach every kid differently. Nobody's the same. That's one thing that I've learned over the years too, is that they always say, everybody should be treated the same the way you coach them. That's not true. Every kid beats to a different drum.
And how do you learn that?
Just from seeing them play over the years, getting to know them in practice, chatting with them and things like that. And I always have my assistant. Again, I keep coming back to Joe and Gavin. They do a great job. They know the kids. They talk to them. They share stuff that they think that I need to know, that hey, that this happened today, or those type of things. Just that relationship allows and helps me to coach them the way that they need to be coached.
Yeah.
We're a team, but individually, everyone needs everyone needs a different voice to motivate them, and that I've come to understand that over the years. Some younger coaches that get into it, they think you treat coach everybody the same. You can't do that. No. Everybody's different, and you have to. At least that's my philosophy. Coach to the individual person.
Well, let's do a blast from the past.
All right.
Sean Lee. Okay. How did he need to be coached?
Sean,
it's a while ago.
It's a hard one to answer, because he worked so hard in practice. Sometimes in practice he would get mad at me because I wouldn't let him practice because he would hurt people. Like we would do a simple drill, and like physically because he had his motor was it was just amazing. And there were times where in practice, like just doing a drill, he's such a competitor that like some of our other starters would get hurt. So I said, Sean, I wouldn't have him go in this drill. He goes, well, why? I'm like, just go shoot. We put him on the side of him, get shooting and stuff like that. I want you to stay healthy. He goes, I'm good. But then if you go in there and then our bodies started flying. I mean, literally, that's why he was a professional football player.
Yeah.
In fact, there was a story about him too in gym in phys ed class. They were playing hockey, and he got so mad he got a stick and whacked somebody, and they got stitches. And it was one of our players, one of his teammates, one of his best friends.
I don't mean to laugh.
Because he didn't want to lose the hockey game in gym. So he had a high stick. He whacked him, and he had to go get stitched up.
Do you think he's the highest motor player you've ever had?
There's been a lot like him. Like he's just, again, it goes back to everybody's different. Like individually, he was Sean Lee. He was just one of a kind. Yeah.
So, how many players over the years? You're 30 years, Upper St. Clair. Upper St. Clair is a certain type of community. Mm-hmm. There's money and education and great education here and good sports. And so, have you ever had to coach somebody hard, like really get in them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, there's been some, and they've responded, and there's been times where they didn't respond. We've had we've had ups and downs. So in 30 years, you're going to have a lot of ups and downs as well. So we've had some that didn't work out in the past, but I hope that they at least learned some things while they were with us and it didn't work out. But yeah.
Yeah. Has anyone ever asked you to coach them hard?
Yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I think it's.
I ask them sometimes. These guys might tell you. I ask them like, how do you want me to? How do you get coached best? How will you respond best? You have to do that. Like you got to know these kids.
Danny, like I love what you just said, and I'll tell you why. Because I played for a guy that was a very successful guard at McKeesport in high school, a really esteemed high school basketball coach. And he was all over us constantly. And I just needed a little bit of love. Mm-hmm. Like I played hard, but like I needed a little bit of love. And that's not what he was about. So I lost some confidence, and I didn't end up to be the player that I could have been. And I look back at that, and I was angry at him for a while. But then I thought about it, and I thought, you know what? He's just coaching the way he's been coached, and he was just doing the best that he could. You know, it takes some maturity to learn that, you know, as you get older. Yeah. And so what you just said, I think, is so amazing to hear that. Like, sometimes I ask the kids how you think it's best to coach you. If my coach would have asked me that question, I would have said, you can be all over me, but just give me some love sometimes about when I'm doing some good stuff. Yeah. And so I think that's such a great thought to do that. And so do they provide you some insight when you do that?
Yes, they absolutely do, yeah.
Have you had kids say, you can get on me and it's okay?
Some, yes. And most of them have always said over the past, like they would like to be coached hard, but they also need some encouragement. Like, it's been different, like in general terms, but like it's like that. Every human being I believe needs to be coached hard, whatever you're doing. And then sometimes you need somebody to put their arm around you and give you encouragement, whether it's as a father, a son, a job, an athlete, whatever. Just as a human being, I think we all need to be worked hard, and we also need to be loved. I mean, that's kind of, I think, just human nature. And I've really tried to do that, especially with these high school kids now. Like, their lives are so different than you and I. We were in high school. Like, we didn't have social media. You know, all we had was, I remember in my house in Pleasant Hills, we had that phone that would stretch with the cord, and that phone rang. Me and my brothers and sisters would be running the phone to see who it was for. And you had one line, you know.
Yeah.
and then if you wanted privacy, you had to wrap the cord around the living room so nobody could hear you.
Exactly.
So it was a different way.
I can't imagine that.
Oh yeah. I thought when we got a cordless phone in the late '80s, we were like, I'm like, oh my God, this is unbelievable.
I know, it was unbelievable, wasn't it? And so, like, but here's another thing. I think as a high school boy, I mean, one of the things in your brain is you want to have some fun.
Absolutely, yeah.
And so, like, St. Clair, I have to think St. Clair is rigorous as far as the education, first of all. And so they got to really get after it in school. And then they come to basketball and they're thinking, this is going to be fun. And then you're on them to, like, get after it. And so, do you think about that at all? Do you think about wanting these guys also to have some fun, but we got work to do?
Oh yeah, there's got to be rigor, like in school and in athletics. So I mean, again, I think a balance is important. There's got to be times where it's very difficult, and times where it's fun and you feel good about it. Prepared for, they're going to be good, but they're also going to face a different. They're now going to be out on their own. They're going to have some different responsibilities, different things happen to them, and they're going to they need to be able to handle it. Upper St. Clair provides that for these kids. Like, there's in their classroom, it's very rigorous, it's difficult, but there's also times, I know their classes with their teachers, there's enjoyable times to it for sure, and that's the same thing we do with athletics. But you got to be able to do both. You got to know when to get after it, and then also when to enjoy yourself and enjoy life and enjoy what you do.
And so, but how does fun translate into the Upper St. Clair boys basketball team? What is fun?
Winning. It's the product of working hard and having fun, and knock on wood, we've been able to do that for a long time. To different levels of success, but we've been able to win. But those wins last a lifetime, with the experiences they have once they leave here. Because there's been ups and downs too. There's been losses. Like this year, we had some losses that were Montour, we lost it. After that game, I was so irritated. And then Amani Christian on the road was a bad night. And then in the state semifinals, getting that far and then losing to Roman, we didn't have our best game. But
How good were they?
They were very, very talented, athletic, long. But we could have beat them. Yeah, we didn't have our best day, but we were right there and battled them. I mean, I think on a good night we would have had our shot. But
I mean, sometimes you don't have your best nights because the other team
exactly
is really good.
Yeah.
But you got there. You're in this Final Four of the state. You're right there, and you just fell a little bit short. I mean, there's not a lot of Whitfield teams that go to the state championship game. It's hard in boys, especially because of all these private and parochial schools that have all these guys coming in.
Yep.
So it's tough to do. So I always love seeing public schools go far.
Yep.
You know, and
Me too.
I'm happy for you. I'm happy for you.
Thank you.
You guys are really successful. I mean, you represent Western Pennsylvania, you know, to the whole state. So, Danny, we ask players, and you ask players to get better. You know, they have a lot of things to do to get better. So how do coaches in high school basketball get better?
You just evolve with the game. I watch a lot of film, watch a lot of college and pros because I like the sport so much. There's so many different ways, you know, talking to your colleagues, bouncing things off different coaches. I really enjoy doing that. I talk to a lot of my high school coaches that I'm friends with, and we share ideas. And I am a huge college basketball fan, so I watch a lot of that. And I've been fortunate to get to know a lot of those guys when I was at Duquesne years ago, and still friends with some of them, and go watch practices and things like that. So, I mean, nowadays you can learn how to do anything and get better at anything, and just go on the YouTube or you know, Google it, and you'll find answers.
But who are some of your go-to people that, like, sort of you talk to, you bounce stuff off of? Who are some of those people?
Well, other than my coaching staff, certainly Tim McConnell. I mean,
Tim McConnell.
He and I are lifelong friends. We grew up together, so I talk with him a lot. Ralph Blundo from Newcastle has been a friend of mine for a long time as well, even though we had to play against each other. I've known him for 30-some years, and we've become good friends over the years. But those are probably two of the guys I chat with a lot. And every once in a while, Sean Miller, I grew up with him a little bit as well. We actually, Sean and I worked a 5-star camp together. And this is going way back now, 1988. I remember I had to go to work. I got an assignment from Garfinkel, hired Garfinkel to work at Radford, Virginia. And he said, I want you to come to Radford. I need you to work week 1. I said, okay. He said, but you have to do me one favor. He says, you have to go to Blackhawk and pick up Sean Miller. I didn't know Sean at the time. I said, okay. So I go pick up Sean. We drive 5 hours down, roomed together for a week, and then drove back, and been friends with him ever since. Don't speak to him that much, but when we do, it's I love bouncing stuff off of him too.
That's great.
Yeah,
that's great. So, how involved are you with the youth basketball program at Upper St. Clair?
Quite a bit, yeah.
How so?
Make sure I go to their games. They come; those kids are at our camp in the summertime. We know their schedules. My other, again, Gavin and Joe do a great job. In fact, Joe Selp is the 8th grade travel coach, so I get to see our 8th graders a lot, watch them practice, going to their games. But I'll stay in touch with our director, and he gives me the schedule of when everybody's playing, and you know, I'll make sure I see them there. And they come to a lot of our games as well, which is nice. But the key thing is just being there and watching them during their season, so they know who you are, and we know who they are. Again, Joe is great. He keeps me updated on every grade. He'll tell me who they played weekly, who played well, who didn't, who's on the team, stuff like that. So we do it collectively.
That's really great. So, when a kid comes to you, he walks in the door, do you start seeing him in 9th grade? When do you start to see him?
Oh, I mean, I start seeing him in 1st grade when they come to my camp.
Okay.
I'm going way back, but I
understand.
A majority of the guys that are on our team have been coming to our camp since they've been that young. So, but to answer your question, I know this summer as 8th graders, they'll be working with us. All the 8th graders going to 9th will come to our open gyms and stuff like that once school ends. So I'll see them a lot.
You invite the rising 9th graders?
Yes. Yeah.
And then you have open gyms?
Yes.
And do you do separate open gyms, like varsity guys and JV guys, or how do you do it?
It depends on what our numbers are. Sometimes they're together, sometimes they're not. Every week's different, starting in June, vacations and summer leagues and things like that. So, but it's a combination.
Do many kids get cut to play basketball at Upper St. Clair?
Believe it or not, the last several years, no, not many at all. Because you know what happens? Here's what happens. We have to work, but you got to work to get to make our team to begin with. Like you can't just put in a small effort and expect to make the team. You can't show up in November and try out and think, oh, I'm going to make the team. It's a process. Like our process for next year's team started on the bus ride home. Like we started thinking about that, and you can't. And I think a lot of them say, I don't want to put this much time into it. There's a lot of talented kids that are working on their skills, so I'm not going to be able to keep up. So they kind of self-select before tryouts. Now this year because we had a big senior class, we still had 25 kids on the team, which is a high number for us. But that's because we had such a special senior class. But I'm trying to think. I don't think that I had to cut anybody this year. Now that I'm thinking about it.
It's amazing.
But we had 25, and they all, yeah.
We had way over 100 at Penn Hills High School.
Oh my
They
gosh,
cut
yeah.
well over 100 kids. And
Yeah.
I saw my assistant coach down in Florida recently, and I said, "How did you do that?" And he said, "Well, me and the head coach,
Yeah, it's hard.
we went to Eaton Park, and we had all these names on the table, and we're
Yeah.
like." And back then, as the second largest school district in the state, they
Yep.
cut kids that could have started all kinds
Yeah.
of places. But that was that. But now there's no cuts. That blows my mind. But I guess it's just a
Yeah.
function of
Yeah.
life today.
Yeah, I mean, we still do, but like here and there, but it's minimal. Yeah, it's minimal.
Minimal.
I think there's a lot of things for kids to do, and I truly believe that people know in our township and our program that you have to be committed and you've got to work to get better, because if you don't, that's the culture. That's part of the culture that's been created for us. So I can only speak for our program. I know some schools may have to cut a lot, some may not have to. Some are begging for kids. Every situation is different.
But how about kids, Danny? Like, how about kids that they're going to be seniors, and they're not going to play much at all? And I mean, I think some coaches worry about that. He talked to me about that when I was talking to him about if we have seniors and we don't think they're going to play, do we want that on our team? Because it could be problematic,
Yeah.
attitude-wise. So do you have that discussion? Do you have those
Well,
thoughts?
absolutely. This year, again, we had 10, and like 4 or 5 were not in the rotation, wouldn't play that much, and I talked to them about it. And
So you went
Oh, yeah.
straight and talked to those kids.
absolutely, and they 100% said, I want to be on the team. These are my friends. I want to be part of this team. I know I can help in practice. And they did, and nobody left. Everybody finished the season with a smile on their face.
Selfless,
Yes.
really. And do you talk to their parents? Do you ever talk to parents?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like, I'm talking about on an annual basis, or is it part of your process,
Yeah.
or
Well,
what?
everything is different. Some are deeply involved with boosters. I have to communicate with them on that. If there's something that came up that I want to talk to them about off the court, do that. Or they may ask me they mention to me something that's going on with their son, other than basketball. But as far as basketball goes, no.
So you don't have like a set meeting with your players' parents?
No, and they know me. Again, going through the years, I know all of them because their kids have been around. They've been a part of the program, so we know each other. Yeah.
I mean, I think one of the frustrations for coaches these days is that, playing time. And I as far as parents, because I think parents can get frustrated.
Mm-hmm.
So, when I was asking my coach about that, he said a few parents would come up to him, and this is in the 70s, and they said, it'd be nice if my kid would play some more. And I said, so what did you tell that parent? He said, well, it'd be nice if they played harder. That's what he would say to the parents. So I know today's a whole different world.
Mm-hmm.
Just give a basic outline of what that looks like for you.
I can only speak from personal experience, and I really haven't had many any issues, because I think the expectation, they know what our program is about, and all of our kids, they do give their best, they work their hardest, but at the end of the day, basketball is a tough sport, only 5 play, but I think we treat their kids with respect, and that's all they can ask for. So I haven't had many.
How often do they want to meet with you?
Not often. No.
So they just respect you and the program, and obviously the success of your program.
I think the program and just the way we treat their sons as kids,
Yeah.
is the most important thing.
So if a kid wants to come and play for Upper St. Clair basketball boys team, and they just roll in as a ninth grader, say they moved in from somewhere else, what are you hoping to see that they can do?
That they can join and be part of the team and be a good teammate, like be able to fit in with the culture that we've developed. It's about us, not I, that type of thing. That's the biggest thing. You can't come to Upper St. Clair and think it's all about you. That would not work. Like, that's not the way our team is.
I think that's such a cool answer, and I'll tell you why I think it is. Because I was almost saying, what do you want them to do? And I'm thinking you're going to say, oh, that they can handle the ball with pressure, that they have good shooting mechanics, that they'll really get after it defensively. And you didn't even say that. You're just like, I just want them to be able to fit in with this culture.
Team chemistry is as important as anything.
You know, that I love that answer. And so I could talk to you for hours, Danny, but like we got some of your players here.
Our boys are ready.
I am going to ask you one more question.
Okay.
You have a passion for basketball. This is like such a big part of your life. And you've made such an imprint in Upper St. Clair boys basketball for 30 years with 5 championships, 522 wins. I mean, the first part is it starting to get a little sentimental to you? Like the success that you had?
This year it did a little bit because we won back-to-back, and these kids know, like this year's class, they were awesome. They were as special as it gets to win back-to-back. I mean, we won 48 games in 2 years, section title, 2 WPIALs, but it was a joy to coach them because they worked so hard and believed and wanted to win. So yeah, this year it did a little bit just because these guys were awesome.
Yeah, I mean the last question I have for you is, I know that you've spoke about your father and his influence to you. I want you to just talk about that again, about what your father's influence was to you, and because I think. Like when people come to me and they say, oh, you're a nice person, you're this, you're that, and I'm like, well, that's what my parents taught me. You know, I give my parents a lot of credit.
Yeah.
So I think you feel that way too, so why don't you tell me that?
Yeah, no, my dad was a wrestling coach and an athletic director, believe it or not, and he would take me and my brothers to practice all the time. We were like 3, 4, and 5. We were all this 1 year apart. And I liked basketball right away for some reason, so he didn't make me be a wrestler. I'll never forget that. He said he always wanted me. You choose what you like to do, and then just be passionate about it. Go after it and get hard and work at it and be a good guy and that kind of stuff. And then it's been a little over a year since he passed away, and still think about a lot of things that he did and said to me, and certainly miss him. But yeah, he left a lot of good advice for me.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, God rest his soul.
Yep.
And I just wanted to bring him up because I know he's dear to your heart.
Yeah, thank you.
And I just want to finish with this with you before we bring the boys on. You are so easy to talk to. You're so nice. You're so personable, and you're so successful that it's always a pleasure to have you come and join us.
Well,
on
thank
our show.
you. It's a pleasure to be here. I appreciate you as well. Thank you.
Thanks, Danny.
Thank you, Lee.
Good luck to you as you
Thanks.
continue with your
Thanks.
Hall of Fame coaching resume. I
Thanks.
hope it just keeps on going.
Well, thank you. Appreciate
welcome.
it.
Also joining us today, senior captains of the Upper St. Clair WPL championship team, Nico Guidas, the senior, and Camille Jackson. Guys, thanks for coming and joining us today.
Of course, thank you for having us.
You're welcome. It's great to have you, man. And so we'll talk with you, or start with you, Camille. Upper St. Clair is like no joke when it comes to the school.
Yeah.
Like I've had the superintendents in here, and I'm talking to the superintendents, and they're talking about what they do academically, and I'm like, this place is no joke. Like you got to work.
Yeah.
So how hard is it for you personally to be a student athlete? Because basketball takes a lot of time to get good.
Yeah.
So how hard is it for you to juggle that, Camille?
It's just all about finding a balance in between school and basketball, because obviously the practices are hard, but during the day you just focus on your classes. And you have a lot of pressure from your friends too to do well in school. Like everyone's always asking, what'd you get on the test? What are your grades like? So it's just finding a good balance in between basketball and the school.
And so, like, what I'm hearing is just like positive peer pressure.
Yeah.
It's like, are you doing all right? Once you get there on the test, that's kind of cool because other places there's negative peer pressure, and I think that's great about that. So, how did you learn how to manage your time?
I mean, it's definitely hard at first because I wasn't really used to it, especially with basketball too. But I think it just, one, talking to my parents helps a bunch, and just setting certain times to study and do my work, and then focus on basketball on the times where I'm free. So it's just about setting up times where I could do either one.
So your parents helped you.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Nico, how about you? How hard? I mean, playing for Danny, doing well in school. How did you handle it?
Well, I think that to start, I mean, school is obviously like it's a good school district. It's not easy classes, you know, having to balance that with like to being in school the hours and like right after school we have practice, and then like when I get done with practice till like later, and then like I might stay after and shoot. So I won't get home till late. So homework especially was like all that was not really an easy process, but a lot of help from my mom. She's like she's always in my corner with schoolwork, and then I like my brother, and just like they help. It's like the balance is just really important to have, especially with being a student athlete.
So mom, big help.
Oh yeah.
Big help. So props to her.
Yeah.
I mean, how hard is the school though? How hard is that schoolwork?
I mean, it depends the classes you take. Like, for example, my senior year, I didn't put all like too much work on myself because I wanted to have like, I mean, with basketball and just like, I wanted to make it a smooth senior year. But like, especially earlier, it was not easy.
Like your junior year.
Yeah, junior year that was probably my hardest.
Really
to be honest.
hard.
Yeah.
And K-Mill, how hard would you say it was for you? How hard is school?
Like Nico said, it depends on the classes. Like my sophomore year and junior year, I was taking some hard classes, so the workload was definitely hard in managing that. But later on, once you realize like what classes are going to give you what amount of work and what type of work, then you know like what classes to choose. So it just depends on what classes you're taking.
Gotcha. Nico, Upper St. Clair is kind of an interesting place to live. So how would you describe it? How would you describe what it's like to live and go to school in Upper St. Clair?
I'd say it's definitely an interesting experience, you know, with like especially like, I mean, a bit of a bubble to be honest, but I enjoy everything about it, and being able to like, you know, not just school and basketball, you know, there's like there's a life you can have out there, and I really appreciate what it has to offer.
Yeah. And how about you, K-Mill? What's it like for you? How do you describe, if someone comes to you and say, hey, I'm going to move to Upper St. Clair, what would you tell them it's like?
It's definitely just a good community to be a part of. Everyone here feels like family in a sense. Like everyone pretty much knows everyone, like everyone's parents knows each other, and everyone's like there to help you out with whatever, especially if you're going through something hard, whatever, like everyone's there for you. So it's a good place to be in if you're looking for that community.
Yeah. You know, because I know the demographics of St. Clair, you guys are not the, quote, majority of who goes to St. Clair. So what's it like being, quote, a minority in Upper St. Clair? What's that like?
Wait, can you repeat the question? I'm sorry.
So you're a minority in Upper St. Clair, not of the majority in terms of race. So what's it like? What's it like to live in Upper St. Clair?
We both. Well, it's different, obviously, but I mean, it not really like an effect too much. It's still like everyone's treated the same.
That's awesome. I'd love to hear that. And what would you say, Camille?
I mean, my answer is kind of different from his.
Really?
I feel like the experience for me has definitely been different. Obviously, you're not around people who really look like you a bunch, but everyone still does, for the most part, treat you the same. It's just really finding out who you are and your identity.
Yeah. No, I get it. So what do you miss most about St. Clair? What do you think you'll miss most about St. Clair?
I mean, definitely like just definitely basketball, in my opinion. That was like, especially with this last year, it was really important to me.
Yeah.
Like the memories, like my teammates and coaches, and just like the experiences and relationships that I was able to build on were just amazing. I'll definitely look back on it with gratitude.
Yeah. How about you, Camille?
Just hanging out with my friends, like whether it's at basketball, like 'cause during practice, we're competing and playing hard, but still with your friends, so it's always fun. And then outside of basketball, just seeing my friends in classes, like going out to the sporting events with my friends, it's just stuff you can't get back.
So what, as far as like, what would be like, forget the championship, what would be something that you take away? Say like, what was some of the most fun that you had playing for this team outside of the championship? We know that's great, but what was fun for you, Nico?
Well, I think definitely the trip we took to North Carolina. That was definitely a huge memory of mine with like the team and just like the experiences. I'll never forget those. And I think just like something that like we look like team chemistry and just like being with each other outside of practice. It's just something I definitely look back on with like I'm just happy to think about it, and it's just something that I'll miss definitely when I go to college.
Yeah. So do they call you KJ?
Yeah.
So that's like your nickname?
Yeah.
KJ. Okay. Can I call you that?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, cool. And so, KJ, like we know the championships are great. You know, they're giving you the medals and all this stuff.
Yeah.
But like, what was something that you're going to really take from playing basketball at St. Clair? What's something you're going to take with you from your heart?
Just like the discipline and the expectation that was there for you, not just as a basketball player, but just like as a person. Like you're expected to be there at a certain time, like making sure you're never late, making sure you're treating your teammates a certain way, just having that respect and discipline. I think is something I'll carry with for my whole life.
Yeah. So, you know, Coach Holzer, unbelievably successful. 522 wins, 5 WPL championships. But like, you know, we talked to him earlier in the show about fun and business. And so where was the fun? Where was the fun in playing basketball? Besides the championship. I mean, I know he said winning is fun. Like, I get that. And sure it is. But what else is fun, would you say, Nico?
I mean, just like I think the whole entire experience is personally, like the even just like practices. Like we always find a way to like laugh and smile at practice, even though like we're still working hard at it, and it's something we take pride in to work hard at it. But I think being able to have fun and like enjoy what you're doing while being successful is definitely important.
KJ.
I would say just competing. I think that's where the most fun is, whether it's in practice or in games. Like just knowing that you have the opportunity to get better, and you do see yourself getting better. So that's for me is what was fun, the whole part.
So you guys won the championship last year, and now you come back as this heavy favorite. So how much pressure did you feel, Nico?
Well, I think that like, you know, like cause it was all this stuff about like USC being like ranked 1 and stuff like that. I mean, all that's just all like outside of what we were focused on. I think that we were definitely trying to prove them right in a sense, but I think just focusing on us like specifically as a team and being the best that we can without exactly worrying or thinking about these other teams and other like outside influences that may affect what we're trying to do. I think just keeping the course straight is what is important for our team.
Yeah, what are you thinking, KJ?
Yeah, personally, I didn't really put any pressure on myself just because I knew that our team was so good regardless of what everyone was saying. I knew if that we just did what we did and we had fun and we put in the work, then we were going to get the outcome we wanted, which we all knew would be a championship. So going into the season, I was pretty confident that we would get there.
Well, Nico, how do you think, you know, there's only 5 guys that can play on the court. And there's a lot of talented players in Upper St. Clair. Like, what did you think you needed to do to get that playing time?
I think it's important just working hard behind when people aren't exactly watching. Like, obviously, like, you know, in practice, like, performing well in that's really important. But then, like, being able to, like, you know, make yourself the best player you can be, like, personally is important to get on the court. And it's something I learned throughout my years. And I'm appreciative of having the opportunity to do so.
KJ.
For me, it was just showing up and holding yourself accountable. Like you see people who are getting playing time, which you might not agree with, or you think that you should be there, but you have to realize that they're doing things that you're not doing. And so you have to really recognize that if you're not being a team player, instead of like a selfish player, you're not gonna get the playing time you want. So yeah, just being there and showing up for the team.
You know, I've been doing this talk show for almost 30 years, and I've known your coach for almost 30 years. And Nico, I have to say, I mean, you saying that, you know, working hard when nobody's looking, I mean, that's such a great answer. I mean, that coach would just like love that answer. And I'm not saying that we don't all have good answers. I'm just saying that I just want to point it out, Nico. I can give you some love on that one.
I appreciate it.
Because that's really good. Really good. Oh my gosh. I just have to take a second here. How hard is it to play defense at Upper St. Clair? Like, is it all man-to-man, or we zone it up, or what do we do?
Man-to-man for the very most part. We didn't really play zone at all this year. But it's not easy. But, I mean, you got T-Rub down there to protect the rim. That's always nice.
Yeah, KJ, like, what's it like for you? I mean, your coach is very demanding, like, as far as getting after it. Mm-hmm. And so, like, you're not going to play, no matter all these other things you can do, you're not going to play unless you give it on defense. Like, so what was that like for you? Because I always say it's not natural for a kid, a high school kid, to get up and go to school, go to basketball practice, and really get after it defensively and stop people. Because it takes a lot of effort. Yeah. And you're banging people. Mm-hmm. So what's that like for you? Like, what was that process like for you?
Yeah, so my process started like freshman year. Like, I came in and then I started practicing with like some of the JV varsity players in the fall. And that was my first experience with this type of defense. And to me, I was like completely lost for so long. But you definitely get used to it and learn about it. And then once you realize what you have to do, it's just a matter of effort of getting around. So.
But it's not easy.
Yeah, it's not easy.
It's not easy, but that's what brings wins.
Yeah.
You know, it really does. So, Nico, what are your thoughts about where you're going to go after Upper St. Clair? What are you going to do?
I'm going to play basketball at St. Vincent College. I made that decision about a month ago.
That's where the Steelers train.
Yep, I might get a job there during summer camp.
Really?
Yep.
So you're going to meet some Steelers?
That'd be nice.
That wouldn't be bad, huh?
Not at all.
That's good. That's good. So KJ, what's the thoughts of your future?
Yeah, so I decided I'm gonna do like a post-grad year at a prep school, just because I feel like I have so much more to develop in my game. So yeah, I'm looking at 2 schools right now. One's in Philly, one's in Maine.
What are they called?
Phelps School and Bridgeton Academy.
And where did that? I don't hear that a lot. So where did that thought process come from to you to go to a prep school?
So at first, like you said, like no one's really heard of it. Like I didn't know much about it, but I've had coaches and trainers tell me that you should look into that. And then I've seen players in college and in the NBA who've done that. So I feel like it was just the best option for me.
So someone planted the seed.
Yeah.
Like who planted the seed?
One of my trainers that I work with in the city, his name's Clyde Mans. He coached at Chatham, but he was like the main one who told me that. And then I talked to my coaches here about it, and they all agreed with the idea. So
I think it's a great idea, a really great idea. But we never hear that here.
Yeah.
Like I've been here a couple decades, and I've never heard anyone say that. So that makes you really unique, KJ. Nico, what is the best part of your game? What's your game? What is it?
Corner threes. 2 words. I'll just say that.
Really?
Yeah. Do
you think corner threes are harder to make than the ones at the top of the key?
Well, I practice corner threes more than like any other spot, so for me, no. But for me, corner threes that's like my bread and butter.
Is it?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, there's always room for that. Yeah. KJ.
I would just say my athleticism, like especially in transition, I can like pretty much do whatever I want. It's just a matter of mindset. So.
Meaning what? What's that mean in transition? What can you do?
Just playing fast, trying to rim run, trying to dunk the ball when I can. So stuff like that.
So how many dunks this year?
I don't even know.
Like a lot?
A few. Go out there at the end of the season.
What's that like to dunk in front of a big crowd? What's it feel like? I don't know because I couldn't do that.
Electric.
Tell us what it feels like so we can
definitely-
live through you, KJ.
It's definitely electric. I don't really like looking at the crowds, especially during games.
Yeah.
But looking back on it in film, like you definitely see everyone going crazy, and on the bench too.
So afterwards, you get to see it, but in the middle, you're like focused.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, Nico, what's it like playing in front of these big crowds? Like, what effect does that have on you?
Oh, it's only positive. I mean, I enjoy it so much. Even like if it's like a crowd that like, say for example, like the Erie McDowell game, like we didn't really have much of. I mean, we had like all the parents and like community support, but like we didn't really have a student section. The other team had a huge student section. I was like in my ear during warm ups. I mean, personally, like I think no matter what the crowd is, it gives me motivation. It's like our crowd, you know, like that's hyping me up, and then the other crowd like trying to go against me. I want to prove them wrong. So I think that's just something to always like, and, right, what KJ said on film, like seeing that, it's just like, I love it.
Yeah. KJ, how does the crowd affect you and your performance inside of you?
I mean, at first, it definitely just made me nervous, like my first few years here. But once you realize that everyone's there just to support you and everyone's there just to have fun, it's more exciting and it just gives you more energy. So playing in front of crowds is always fun for me.
You know, one of my big memories of playing high school basketball is, you know, the JV game's going, the crowd is there, the crowd's coming in full blast, and then you guys run out for the layup line, and the music starts kicking. And it's just such a great memory for me. What did that do to you?
I think definitely like it was like kind of a moment where you realize like, okay, we're about to start, like it's time to like lock in. So in the music playing kind of got me like, that kind of got my head right and focused, and like the run out, it's just like for the home games, it's like it gets me going. I love it so much, and I just want it back.
Yeah, man, right? How about you, KJ?
Yeah, same for me. It just gets the energy going. Like it just gets you prepared for the game. So yeah.
But how about just before that? Like it's the fourth quarter of the JV game. I'm thinking Coach Holzer's not talking to you the whole time. You just have some time to yourself. Like what's going through your mind before a game, especially some of these big games that you guys played in? What's going through your mind in the
Oh yeah,
locker
like
room?
fourth quarter JV, we're in the locker room. It's definitely just a mental preparedness time for me, and like you know, even sometimes I'll like you know talk to my players, whether it's like about the game or just like trying to get myself like going, whether it's like with my positive affirmations and like teammates, like positive conversations, just everything positive before a game. You never want any pressure or like anything to think about that's like outside of basketball, and it's definitely like you just get a great feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah, so for me, I usually try stretching before, and just during that time, it's just like visualizing how you want the game to go and what do you want the energy to be like. So it's just trying to get yourself mentally prepared for everything.
You know, I had an Upper St. Clair football team in here years ago, and I asked them about being in the locker room before the game, and they just said it was really, there was nerves going on, and I said, what was behind that? And basically it was the violence like they were getting ready to deal with. Like they're on a football field, and there was one kid, he was like a small kid, but he was really fast, and he was a punt returner. And I'm like, well, he said it was nerve-wracking. And I'm like, what was nerve-wracking? He goes, well, when I catch a punt, people are running full speed to knock my head off. And I'm like, yeah, I guess that would be nerve-wracking. But you didn't feel that kind of nerve-wrackingness? You didn't feel that?
Well,
Or did you?
I mean, before like super big games, maybe there was nerves definitely, like
Yeah.
Wibo Championship, all like every playoff game, to be honest. I mean, and just especially like the first game, like just like all the games, like it's kind of how you prepare yourself. Like some games, if you're not prepared, you might feel more nerves, and if you are prepared, you won't. It's kind of like that for me personally.
Yeah, how about you, KJ?
My first start was like the only time I was really nervous before a game, like ever in my life. But after that, I feel like it's just been more excitement than anything. Like I just want to go out there and play. Like I'm tired of like sitting in this locker room. So that's how I felt for the most part.
Yeah. So now, you know, you're seniors, you're leaving, you got these freshmen rolling in. And so what would you tell them? I mean, you've had such an unbelievable experience. You've won the most decorated boys basketball team in Upper St. Clair history. you got these young guys coming in and like, I need some advice. I need some advice. So what would you tell them, Nico?
I tell them, I mean, obviously, like, you'd want to, like, obviously, like, hard work, like, pays off, stuff like that. But, I mean, just, like, I think for this Upper St. Clair basketball specifically, like, showing up, being a part of everything is really important because it gets you prepared, like, for when you actually do need to be on that court for this basketball team. And I think I think being part of the program in terms of going to everything you need to and having that commitment, like, mindset where you're going to show up to everything. And like I said before, like, even if you're not going to, I mean, you should be going to everything, but, like, if you're not going to everything, doing stuff on your own is really important especially for the younger guys, because, like, when you're going into like your freshman year, you don't really know where you're going to stand on that team exactly. So trying to make yourself the best player you can, like, personally, is the biggest thing.
KJ.
For me, for the freshmen, and even like my freshman self, I would just say be patient, keep putting in the work, especially when no one's looking, but also just know that your time will come, and when you do, you just want to be ready for that moment. But just like Nico said, make sure you're showing up to everything, being a part of the team, showing your face, and just being patient.
So I know basketball is a big part of your life. It was for me. Sports was in high school. But, you know, you're going to college and you got to go to school. And so, like, what are your thoughts about, like, what you're going to study?
I'm applying as, like, business undecided right now, but I'm thinking of going to communications, and then I'm going to minor in marketing. That's what I'm going to start out as. I might change my major.
So where'd that come from? Where did that thought come from?
Well, I mean, business, I know it's, like, a popular, like, most athletes and, like, most people, like, do business as their, you know, major and stuff. But my papu, my grandfather, he was in that business, and he, like, told me, like, about it, and I was interested in what he was saying. And I want to learn more because I don't exactly know what I want to, like, do when I'm older, but I feel like business is a safe option for now, and I can change it if I get interested in something otherwise.
Cool. What did you call your grandfather?
Papu. It's Greek.
Papu.
Yeah.
So you're Greek? Like
Yeah, I'm Greek.
Giannis?
Pardon?
So like Giannis.
Yeah, he's Greek. Yeah, I'm Greek.
That's what I'm saying.
Yep.
That's what I'm saying. And so, KJ, same question.
I'm a bit unsure, but I'm leaning towards business. Like Nico said, like business or marketing. And for me, it's just because I feel like it can apply to like literally anything you want to pursue in life. Like business is always going to be a part of it. So it's always good to learn about the money aspect and the marketing aspect of everything.
Yeah. Last question. What are you most proud of, Nico?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm most proud of just, you mean just like in general or just like for basketball?
Yeah,
or
anything. Like you're what, 18 years old?
Yes.
Okay. So you lived 18 years. Like what are you most proud of what you've done in your life?
Well, I think just being able to like contribute to this team, I think that I didn't see myself doing that at all, especially when I was younger. Like it wasn't really something I saw myself doing, if that makes sense. And then like being able to, like my mom and Papu, like my brother even telling me that like they told me it's gonna work out, and they told me that like eventually they had this faith in me, like, you know, since I was younger. They told me eventually it'd work out, and then like seeing it, being able to manifest that was really just crucial to me, and it was like very meaningful, and that's definitely what I'm most proud of.
So they believed in you even before you did.
Yeah.
How great is that?
I know it's.
You got to give them some love.
Oh yeah, they were always in my corner, and like I was, like they were their hopes for me were up here, and I was like still down here. I didn't really recognize that.
That's a cool story. It's a really cool story. KJ.
I would say just my personal growth as a person, and as a basketball player. I feel like I've grown a lot since a kid, even from my freshman year, sophomore year, and it's helped with basketball, especially as we won like 2 championships, and just in my life in general. I feel like I've done a lot of growth as a person.
I love that. I love that answer. You know, I love having Upper St. Clair players come in, coaches, because you guys are always so well spoken, and that just says so many great things about your school. I mean, do you guys realize how lucky you are to live here?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like a huge blessing.
Yeah.
But, you know, I just want to thank you for joining us today, and I want to wish both of you the best of luck in your future.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank
Appreciate
you for having us.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you
Great
for coming.
experience.
Thank you. Also joining us is 2 additional senior captains of this back-to-back WPIAL championship-winning Upper St. Clair boys varsity basketball team. We have Julian Dahlem. Julian, it's great to have you back.
Great to be back.
Yeah, and Tyler Robbins. It's nice to see you again.
Thanks for having us.
What's it like being here for the second time, Tyler?
I don't know, it's pretty fun being out here with the team, you know. Like,
Yeah.
we have a good time down here, yeah.
Yeah, it's always like for a good reason. What's it feel like to you, Julian?
Yeah, I missed the other 2 people who did the interview last year instead of those 2 who came up before us.
Well, you know, I want to start with you, Julian, because like last year, I think I just was recalling how like connected you were feeling to your coach. Like, talk to me about that again.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly what I said, but I think I said he was like my second father because he treats us like instead of players, he treats us like family. So it's pretty special to have a relationship with your coach, but we all have it, so it's nothing new anymore. I think everyone could say the same, but yeah.
I mean, do you realize how special that is?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it just doesn't happen with just any coach. So I think that says a lot about your coach Holzer.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so Tyler, what's your relationship with your coach?
You know, coach, you know, he's a great guy. You know, he's done a lot of stuff for me. I'm thankful for everything he's done. And, you know, I'm hoping that, you know, I can keep the relationship going through the rest of my life. But,
Yeah.
you know, I'm very thankful for Coach Holzer and everything
That's
he's done.
special. That's
Yeah.
special. Now, Tyler, you're a big guy. How tall are you?
I'm 6'10".
6'10". What's it like being 6'10"? Just in general.
Like what, living my everyday life?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I duck under some doors. I, you know, can only get shoes at like the Nike outlets and stuff. Clothes are hard to find, but I like being tall. I wouldn't want to be like short.
What do you like about it?
I think it's like nice to be in, like, if I'm a big crowd of people, I can like look over people. I can find stuff in like grocery stores easier and.
Yeah. Did you ever help anybody get stuff off the top rack?
I mean, I've helped like my mom, but she's 6'2", so that really doesn't do a lot. So
Yeah.
she can just reach her herself.
I got it. I've done it a couple times. That's just why I say it. But no, it's a good thing. But the other question I guess I have for you is, when you were growing up, you know, I've seen younger kids that were tall trying to play basketball, and you're like grown into your body, and you're kind of feeling kind of awkward. Did you go through that?
Oh, I was terrible. Yeah, I couldn't make a layup.
See, like, I think people need to hear this. You know, I was terrible.
I mean, terrible is like definitely an overstatement, but
Well,
we've came a long way.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've came a long way. I wasn't the most polished basketball player growing up, to say.
And what do you think was the turning point for you?
I was definitely going into my junior year. Going into my junior year is
What happened?
I grew to 6'9". I was like 6'5" the year before, and then I put a lot more time into basketball, realizing like I could actually go places with it.
Did you do it because you wanted to do it? Did you do it because other people were telling you to do it?
I mean, I definitely wanted to do it. I definitely wanted to play basketball. It's definitely my passion, but I definitely was encouraged by other people to like, yeah, let's go do some work.
Yeah, there can be some good stuff at the end of that rainbow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Julian, so I want to know what your role was like on this team. What's your role?
Do everything but score. And that's about it. Everything but score.
That's like really important. Like, not everybody, I think, gets that. Like, playing high school basketball, that helps you win when you got people to do what you're saying. Mm-hmm. But the guys that score, they get the headlines and the pictures and all that stuff. So that means you have to be unselfish. Is that how you look at it?
I'd say, I mean, there's probably a better word than unselfish, but because you can be selfish without knowing. Like, you can always say you can take the credit, but people don't give credit when credit's due. And I think that, like you said, the headlines. But like, all respect to my teammates, like there's a lot more credit due, where, especially like Gianni DeSora, he deserves a lot more credit than what other people did.
Why do you say that?
Because he did things that people don't see. And there's, like Nico said, you don't see that stuff behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
What made you become that type of player?
I mean, I became that player ever since people grew and I didn't. Like, I mean, that's basically it.
That must be crazy. You know, like you're playing with these kids and then they start growing on you. And it's fluid. And so what's going through your mind when you're seeing that?
I mean, it's a dream. I mean, to play at a high level, you have to be a little bit taller than what I am, but it's not that it's going to phase me to do what I want to do in my life.
And you did it.
Yeah.
Oh, how much satisfaction did you get out of that?
Not much. We didn't accomplish our main goal, so yeah. I mean, we knew what we had to do to come in and do it, but we didn't do it. So
you have lots of championships, but you just didn't get the one that you wanted.
I think we all wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, how good was that team that you played in the state semifinals?
I would count myself as playing not as good as I should have, but I think it was.
Were they good?
I think they're beatable. I think every team was beatable. We just didn't play our best.
Tyler, what's your recollection of that game? Like, how good were they that you were going against?
They were a very talented team, you know. I think you got to give a lot of credit to them. But we didn't have our best day that day, and it's one game. It is what it is. They definitely beat us. They were the better team that day, but it is what it is.
Yeah. So, Julian, going to Upper St. Clair is as I said, it's no joke. You got to do your schoolwork. Like, so talk to me about how hard that was for you. You're like enmeshed as a central part of this basketball team that's highly decorated, but you got schoolwork to do. And so how hard was that for you? How much of a challenge?
It was especially hard freshman year because I didn't put as much time as I grew up. But once you mature, you realize that the more work you put in, the more comes out. So it got easy over the years because all we did was put your head in a book and everything works out.
Yeah, yeah. Tyler, how about you?
I think you got to put a lot of time into schoolwork also. You know, it's student athlete, student first, and you know, it definitely comes first, but it's just you got to balance the two and see how.
Where did you get student first? Who taught you that?
I mean, I think I've heard that a lot. You know, my parents have definitely told me you have to be a student first, and you have to, you know, pay attention in class if you want to play basketball and stuff.
Yeah. Well, speaking of your parents, like, what kind of influence have they had on you?
They've had a huge influence on me. They're both athletes, so they know what it takes, and they've been through it all. And they went through, you know, they did all their work back in the day, and now they're just trying to instill that in me and my siblings.
What did they play?
My mom played basketball at Mount Lebanon and then Virginia Tech, and then my dad played football in Ohio, and then he went to Pitt. So
your main rival is Mount Lebanon, and your mom played there.
Yeah,
How challenging was that for her? Like you're her son playing her alma mater. What was it like for her?
To be honest, I don't really think she cared about that. I mean, you know, she was rooting for her kids, obviously.
Yeah.
But she still teaches there, so I mean, she knows still some of the players on that team playing, you know, like the students and
Yeah.
But she was definitely rooting for us.
Yeah, sure. So, but besides your parents, who has influenced you to become the player, the person that you are?
I don't know. You know, my parents, I think, definitely had a big impact. I think there's a lot of people that we don't have time to list all of them that have had an impact. That, you know, there's, you know, whether it's coaches, whether it's other family members, or whether it's players, you know, it's a lot of people impact me.
Yeah. So Julian, I mean, you're, you know, you've reached a very high level of high school basketball to be a senior captain on the most decorated team at St. Clair. So, like, who influenced you the most to be where you got?
Well, my brother won it his senior year, so it was kind of the motivation. We won junior year, and we're going to win senior year, so it makes you look like the better athlete in the household.
Little competition.
Life's a competition.
I feel you. I feel you. So you think your brother's your main influence?
Yeah.
Yeah. And what did you get from him, though? What about him playing did you absorb?
Seeing your senior group be successful. I mean, we have 10 kids who we've played with since 3rd grade, so no matter what, we were coming out on top and all.
Yeah, yeah. Tyler, what do you think you're going to miss most about going to Upper St. Clair, living in Upper St. Clair, and going to the school, besides sports?
I would probably just say see my friends every day. I'm really close with all my friends, and also I won't see my family as much anymore, which kind of suck. But we're still friends and everything. We're still family, so I'll still stay in touch. It's just I won't see them every day.
Yeah. Julian, how about you? Like the township and the school, besides the sport, what do you think you're going to miss the most?
I don't know. Not much. Just being with your friends and being with the people you've been since day one.
Yeah.
But that's about it. Nothing else.
Well, so let's say, Tyler, some kid comes to you and they're moving into Upper St. Clair, they're in 9th grade, they can play basketball. Like, what would you tell them about the school? Let's start with the school. What would you tell them first about the school?
I would tell him just do his work, make sure you turn in all your assignments, and if you just pay attention, school's really not that hard. You just gotta put in the work.
Yeah. And then now he wants to play basketball for Danny Holzer. Like, what are you going to tell him?
I think there's a lot of extra work that goes into basketball, and if you just do the right things, then it'll end up panning out for you in the end.
Yeah, you're probably not going to cut corners and play on this team.
No.
I don't think so. So, Julian, what are you going to tell that 9th grader coming in about the school, about how to handle school and your life? What would you tell them?
Get close with the teachers and maintain a 3.5 GPA and you're fine.
Is that what you did?
No.
All right. So now they want to ask you. I want to play for Coach Danny Holzer. Like, what should I do, Julian? What would you tell him?
Get in the weight room. That's about it. Because that probably helps out more people than they think.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, we didn't do that back in the day. I can see where that could help. So let's talk about fun, and forget about sports for a second. What is fun at Upper St. Clair for you, Tyler?
I would probably just say hanging out with my friends. Whether it's we played softball on Saturday night, that was fun. Whether it's we're sitting at someone's house around a fire. My friends make a lot of different activities fun. We went on a kayak trip for a class. That was really fun, just because of the people that were there. It's all about the people.
Yeah. Yeah. Julian.
You couldn't have said it better. There's not much to do. You're in a little circle, so it's your friends or nothing.
Do you feel it's like a bubble living in Upper St. Clair?
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's a pretty cool bubble.
It's all right. Nothing special to it.
Well, I kind of think there is a little bit, because you got this really great school, Julian, and then you got this great basketball team to play for. Not everybody gets to go to that, but I understand what you're saying, though. Besides winning the championship, what are you going to remember most about playing high school basketball for Coach Holzer?
Probably just the people, all the teammates, all the great players we've had. We made a lot of memories together, all the coaches and us together. We've had a lot of great times, and it'll be fun, but we'll look back on them someday and laugh and talk about them.
Well, how about you, Julian?
The list could go on. It's food after the games, breakfast after the practices. It's all the little things. It's nothing on the court. other than like fights that happen in practice. I mean, it's just stuff that you'll never forget, but at the same time you will forget. And then making new friendships with kids you've never talked to. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, you know, when people ask me that, they talk about what it was like playing high school basketball, high school baseball at this really huge high school. And what I say to them is, I met so many people that I would have never met, and I had some of the greatest experiences that I would have never had. And I think that applies to you guys. Like, look at the crowd you guys played in front of with like big games and all the people that you've met. I just think I think when you get older, I think you'll really get that. But what was the toughest part, Tyler, about playing at Upper St. Clair? What was hard for you personally?
Probably, we put a lot of work into it, so probably actually doing the work is definitely tough.
So nothing.
Yeah. It was really fun, and I would have done it again a million times. Like, I wouldn't have done anything different, I don't think.
Yeah.
I probably just would have worked even harder to be even better, but
Yeah.
really I enjoyed it.
Julian, what was hard for you?
It's a hard question. I mean, I don't know, going back to the last game, it's just seeing, that's the last time you'll ever touch a court with 10 people, or 10 of your friends, I should say. That's about it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty final right there. So pre-game, Tyler, what's going through your mind? Like, you're sitting in the locker room, like, there's a bunch of people out there, there's some pressure on you. You guys are defending champions, you're in these big games, and there's pressure. So, like, what's going on in your head before the games?
I would just try to mentally prepare on how I wanted the game to go, and just think about the things that the other team would do, how we could be prepared for it, and what I could do to play my best that day.
Julian.
Yeah, just do your job, or do my job. That's about it.
And what was your job? Besides doing everything except score, but what were those things? What were they?
I mean, I think what I said before is pretty much your answer. Do everything but score. Just lead by example. And it's just motivating others to do their best. I mean, that's about it.
Did you feel the mantle of leadership on you?
Yeah.
And so how did you handle that? I mean, some people are natural.
I scream at my teammates.
Do you?
Vocal leader.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And do you think, I mean, we watched The Last Dance with Michael Jordan, and some of his teammates weren't real happy with him, how hard he pushed them. Do you think that happened to you?
No, I think a lot of people don't like it, and then they realize how much it really could have helped them in the future. Like, I can be example for Nico. He might have not liked me at the beginning of the season, but we became best friends at the end because I screamed at him every practice because he could have played at the beginning. But yeah.
Man, that's pretty fascinating to hear that.
Yeah.
Like, you're like getting on him, and he's not liking that.
Mm-mm.
But then you guys come together and you win these championships, and that's awesome.
Yeah.
And so did you feel that was your role? Like, how did you start that? How did you start just screaming at people? Like, not a lot of people do that, but you do that, Julian.
I've done that my whole life.
You
Like,
have?
we've butted heads our whole life, but I always told him he's always going to have the most potential. He just never believed me. And then he figured it out, and props to him because he did it, and pretty excited for him.
Yeah. Well, you said, and one of the ways that I handled playing basketball at this level, because I couldn't jump the highest, and some people were a lot bigger than me, and they were way up on the glass. And so as a guard, I always thought, I can't let them get to the basket because I'm going to lose when they go into the air. And so I had to get very physical and beat people to the spot and not let them go where they wanted to go. Is that the kind of game that you have?
Football players. I'm a football player. That's what I bring. Football.
Did you play football?
Yeah.
What position?
Everywhere.
Really?
Yeah,
What do you mean everywhere? No one says that.
that's true.
But running back,
Yeah,
quarterback,
yeah,
wide receiver,
yeah,
defensive back,
yeah.
linebacker?
No.
Okay. All right. I finally got one. And so what's different between high school football and high school basketball?
5 people on a court compared to 11.
But I get that. But I'm saying, like, football's violent.
Basketball is more violent than football.
You think so?
Yeah,
Why do you say that?
because there's no padding. There's no protection.
You talked about fights, and we got into fights in my practices. I mean, we don't talk about that. So did that happen in your practices?
Not this year. Not as many, I should say.
But there have been some.
Yeah.
And it's just being physical and getting after it
Yeah.
and trying to get yourself on the court.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. I get it. And a lot of people don't think basketball's a contact sport. What would you say to that, Julian?
There's probably more injuries in basketball than a lot of other sports. People just don't realize. Because you're in the air more than you think. Rebounds, shots, landing at ankles. It's
ankles.
Yeah.
A lot of ankles, you know. But it's interesting. So I just want to know pregame from you, Julian, like those Upper St. Clair football players that I had in here, they were saying it was nerve-wracking because they were getting ready to go get into some violence. So what was the difference with you with football pregame, basketball pregame?
I don't know. I think it's all the same. Like I get super nervous, but I mean nerves always turn out good, and you always play better when you're nervous. But it's not to be the fact that I'm nervous. It's just that it's always in the head. If you play bad, this could be your last game. If that's your thought. Nerves aren't really a thing. I think it's just your thoughts get you tangled up in a mess you don't want to be in.
Mm-hmm. Tyler, you know, you're 6'10". You're a senior. You're being recruited. You won the WPIAL championship the year before. I mean, I know what was required of you as a player, you know, to really handle the post and block shots and be a presence and score. But what was asked of you besides being that post player on this team? What else was asked of you?
You know, I think I was asked to be a leader. You know, I was voted captain for the second year in a row, along with Julian, and I think it just comes with some responsibility that, you know, we have to. If we don't get back there, it's on me. Like, we do got to get back there, and I put it on myself, and you know, I think it worked out a little bit. I wish we obviously could have went farther, but
You were right on the doorstep of the whole enchilada. And so Julian's this vocal leader. What kind of leader are you?
I think a little bit of both. Maybe I think I maybe led by a little bit of an example, and then I also try to be a little bit of a vocal leader at times when we needed it. But kind of just whatever we needed at the moment, that was what I would try to bring.
How physical does it get in the post?
I mean, I think I definitely got beat up a lot over the season. You know, there were probably a lot of fouls that they didn't call, but I probably also fouled some people that they didn't call. So it's just kind of, you got to play through it. You know, every game was different, whether they would call and stuff or not, and just I would try not to let that affect like what else is going on in the game for me.
But it has to be annoying, Tyler, when you're in the post and you're turning and you're going, trying to score whatever you're trying to do, and people are banging you and they're not calling. Like,
Yeah.
How frustrating is that?
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty frustrating, you know, and there'd be multiple guys down there just guarding one person, and you know, I wouldn't get calls and stuff, but it is what it is, you know. We played through it and go on to whatever next.
Who's the best players you played against?
Like in the WPIAL or like ever?
Ever.
I mean, yeah, in the AAU, I've played like the #1 kid in the country,
What's his name?
AJ DeBansa.
Where's he from?
He's going to BYU. I think he's from California though.
What's he
Actually,
like? What's he?
Is he from Maine?
What's he like to deal with?
He's from Utah.
He's from, I don't know where he's from. I mean, he's pretty good, yeah. He's #1 for a reason. He's pretty good.
So you had your hands full?
He played 2 of the #1 players in the country.
Yeah, then his teammate was the #1 in 2026. So
What's his name?
Tyron Stokes. We didn't win that game. No. But it is what it is. It was a fun memory. It'll be something I'll tell my kids someday when they're in the NBA and I'm working a 9-to-5 job.
Yeah, how about
Yeah.
how about the Whippeal? Who was the best player in the Whippeal you played against?
It'd probably be Ama, you know, because he's Ama Sao. He's the other big.
Where?
He's from Montour. You know, I think we're often compared to each other. I don't really think we have similar play styles, but I think just because of our size, we're compared to each other. But he's a really good player. He's a good kid too, and he's a solid player.
Julian, how about you? Who stands out to you, Julian?
I don't know anyone who stands out. We shut down everyone who stood out that played against us. So I'm not wrong.
I mean,
I'm not wrong. Oh my gosh, this made me laugh. So, what's the future plans, Tyler? What are you gonna do?
I'm gonna play basketball in Miami of Ohio.
Is that where Big Ben went?
Yeah.
There you go. What was your short list?
It was Miami of Ohio, Kent State, probably William and Mary, and then probably RMU.
Harvard.
Oh, who helped you make the decision, or was it all you?
So after I went on the visit with my family to Miami, we kind of knew that was the one.
Why?
It just felt like home. You know, the coaching staff was really nice. The school was extremely nice, and it just felt like it was the best fit for me as far as like basketball and just a regular school. Like it just felt like it was the best fit.
Are you going there over the summer?
Yeah, I leave June 15th.
Do you?
Yeah.
Julian, where are you off to?
Going to John Carroll to play football.
Are you?
Yeah.
I mean, did they have a position for you?
Yeah, I'm playing receiver up there.
Yeah. And what was on your short list for that, for where you were going to go and what you were going to do?
I didn't really have a short list. I was thinking about Case Western too, but I didn't really want to deal with the academic side. I kind of wanted to have a little bit of way, so I went to John Carroll, 2 Cleveland schools.
Nice. And what made you, I mean, what do you think's there for you? What's the draw for you at that school?
Academics. Because I won't have football my whole entire life, so got to put the school first in college.
Well, listen, thank you both for coming. It's the second year in a row with me because you win WPL championships, so I really want to congratulate both of you for doing what you did. There was a lot of pressure on you guys, and you performed. You know, I know you were a little upset, or more than a little upset about not winning the state championship. I get that, I feel that. But I mean, when you look back at what you guys did, it was really pretty special. You know, maybe someday you'll realize that, but like, so I just want to congratulate you both for that. And it was nice to see you again, to come back here. You only come back when you win championships, so it was great. And I want to wish you both the best of luck.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And I want to thank you for watching. Please join us for another one-on-one. I'm your host, Lee Adams. Thank you for watching.